6%, up from an all-time low of 43% early this month. The president can't be too happy, though. According to the poll, 50% of the people still disapprove overall. Dick, how is this happening?
His strategy is working. We see his strategy as the usurpation of executive authority, and we look at it in constitutional terms.
Sure.
The way it looks from inside the White House, when I worked with Clinton on a similar executive order-based thing, is you can go out as president and give a speech and say, I think the minimum wage should be raised, and nobody's going to cover it. But if at the same time you're signing an executive order, they have to cover it. You can go out and say, I think we should make cars more fuel efficient. But if you're signing an order, the trucks have to be more efficient. It penetrates the membrane between speech and news.
And shows how the media needs to kind of readjust their protocols that,
every day there's now a story about something Obama is for. And they all have one thing in common. None of them contain the word health care, because they're all designed as one gigantic distraction from the elephant in the middle of the living room.
And if anything we know that the Obama administration has been successful at is manipulating the media. Alan, if you are the opposition here, how infuriated are you to see his approval ratings going up despite all this stuff going on?
Well, it's not so much being infuriated. The question is, what do you do? I mean, when you have a president that has that pulpit, is able to do what Dick said to show that he's taking some type of action, then
there was our conversation from earlier today with Dick Morris and Alan West. I think we do have we finally established a connection with Congressman Marsha Blackburn. Congressman, are you there?
I am right here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's so great to talk to you. I want to take a quick step back because we were talking about the weather and the climate change debate. The head of the Meteorological Society, we played a soundbite from him earlier. He said because of climate change, we know that's real and humans are contributing. I wanted to get your reaction to that and what you're thinking on that.
Well, of course, what your environmentalists like to say is that the rise in carbon is all our fault. And what many of the climatologists will say is that it is not necessarily that the jury is still out on whether or not the changing in temperatures. We had warming for a period, and now we have started to cool. Since '98, the Earth has been cooling. And so it is whether or not humans contributed to that, and whether or not carbon emissions necessarily are equated to rising temperature, because if they want to say the emissions are increasing, yet since '98 the Earth has been cooling, then they're speaking in opposition to the own theory that they hold.
But isn't this really not about climate change itself, Congressman? Because we're talking about these issues and they relate to, cap and trade and carbon emissions and things like that. It's really about reining in some of this pollution here. Why doesn't the administration simply say, look, we need to cut down on these smokestacks. We need to cut down on pollution. Why do they use climate change? Because it seems like that argument is people like yourself and others aren't buying it.
Well, members of Congress are not buying it, and I will point out to the push for the cap and trade rule that they were trying to implement via Congress. There was bipartisan opposition, so now they're trying to do it through the rulemaking authority of the EPA. And what they continue to do is say, hey, look, it's your fault, and since it's your fault, you need to help do something about that, thereby give us the power, give government the power to make these changes.
All right, Congressman, can we just take a quick break real quick? We had some technical problems, so we have to adjust our time here. We need to take a step away for a quick commercial break, but we'd love to carry on the conversation on the other side of that break if you could stick around for us. All right, well, hopefully she'll still be sticking around. We'll be right back with more here on America's Forum right after this.